And it's live. Hey guys, welcome along. My name's Lockie. This is Australia Cup quarterfinals action. Live watch along. SD Raiders, Sydney FC. This should be an intriguing game. Because if we've learned anything from the Australia Cup this year, it's expect the unexpected. So while if you saw this fixture written on a piece of paper, you would think surely that is a win. Surely that is a victory for one of the most successful sides in A-League history in Sydney FC. Surely the A-League side here would claim victory. But with the Australia Cup this year, it has just been absolutely incredible. The amount of drama, the amount of cup sets that we have had this year. A record number of cup sets. And tonight, SD Raiders, could they do it? Could they get the job done against Sydney FC? Well, they defeated an A-League opponent last time out. It was Macarthur FC. So now their opponent is Sydney FC, which is a completely different test here because Sydney FC are looking good at the moment. I mean, 5 goals against Bayswater City, 4 goals against Brisbane Roar in the round of 16. They're a good side, Sydney FC. I think they're building a strong squad for this season. So I think this is going to be a tough test for SD Raiders. It's going to require the NPL New South Wales side to be at their best. And for Sydney FC tonight, I mean, the pressure is on them to perform. They are the A-League team. And of course, this is somewhat of a... I mean, do you call this a derby game? You've got SD Raiders, Southern Districts Raiders taking on Sydney FC here. 2 Sydney-based football clubs. Good to see Carl here in the live chat. Jacob jumping in earlier as well to say, come on Sydney FC. Jacob, of course, a long-time viewer of the channel. Jacob, always appreciate you jumping into the live chats and the comments on the videos. The Sky Blues. We do have a lot of Sydney FC fans that watch this channel. In fact, I'd love to do a poll sometime of like people who watch this channel, like which A-League team you follow or which Australian team, for that matter, do you follow in football. And I feel like Sydney FC fans would be up there. I seem to, I don't know what it is, but I seem to come across a lot of Sydney FC fans on the internet. So this game is kicking off in about less than 17 minutes, 13 minutes or so now. So live reaction to the lineup. I always love doing this. I intentionally don't look at the team news beforehand, but of course we often take a focus on the A-League sides, that obviously the top division in Australian football. So let's focus on Sydney FC and their lineup. Gus Horsford in goals. Ryan Grant wearing the captain's armband. It's a back four of Grant, Popovich, Courtney Perkins, Garuccio. So again, that same back four that Patrick Isnorba has been running for a lot of games in charge of Sydney FC, even going back to the end of last season. Joe Lacey starting once again in midfield alongside Reece Yulia, Cola Con, Tiago Quintal, and Takahiro Sakine starting. Matthias McAllister leading the line for what is now the 3rd consecutive game in the Australia Cup. So big match coming up for the young striker as well. But there's so much excitement. I think Sydney FC fans should be getting I think the excitement for this upcoming season should be growing for Sydney FC fans, because they've. I think Sakine looks like a promising player. He scored against Brisbane last time out, and then you look at those young players coming through, and Joe Lacey, who's getting another start here, Cola Con, who is just a super promising player. What a fantastic talent he is. Tiago Quintal. Obviously, we're still a couple months out from the start of the A-League season. But I think if I had to pick a player to watch for this upcoming A-League season, it's Tiago Quintal. I think this is the year where Tiago Quintal goes to that next level. I think he could be the next, Adrian Segicic, you know what I mean? Where he's that exciting young attacking player that just really just sort of explodes this season. Jacob's watching from Ireland. Love it, man. Hope all is well over there. Thanks for joining us as always, mate. I didn't know you. Are you holidaying in Ireland, or are you from Ireland? I never knew that. There you go. Good to know. Always great to hear where the viewers are tuning in from. We did a bunch of live streams throughout the World Cup, obviously a couple months ago, and it was great seeing folks tuning in from all across the planet. So this is the first quarterfinal, the first of 4 matches. So we've got Apia Leichhardt taking on Melbourne Victory. That is tomorrow. Then next week, got some really interesting matchups. Lions FC, North Sunshine Eagles. Lions FC defeating 2 A-League opponents on the way to the quarterfinal. Quite incredible. Defeated Perth Glory and Melbourne City. So they're coming up against a side from VPL 1 in North Sunshine Eagles. So it's a completely different test here for Lions FC. And it feels like they're probably going to have to be the favourites in that game, especially being the hosts as well. And then you've got the final game, which is just going to be an absolute cracker. Preston Lions, South Melbourne. What a match that is going to be, because you've got two NPL Victoria rivals facing off there. So much to talk about, man. So much action. And we always enjoy watching the Australia Cup, but this year in particular, it's been thoroughly entertaining and unpredictable. So, thankfully, a good thing about the Australia Cup, I think they've done it for the last couple of years now, from memory. This game is free to watch for everyone. It's on YouTube. So you can get your multi-stream, get your devices out, get your devices ready. Thanks for joining us for the live watch along here. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Thanks for joining us for this one. Kickoff is commencing shortly. Feel free to drop some predictions in the live chat as well. Sydney FC, I think, are favourites heading into this one. But again, this year, the Australia Cup, you just don't know. You don't know. I mean, it was fascinating watching SD Raiders and their game against Macarthur FC, because SD Raiders were, for much of that game, the better side almost. It was a really, really impressive performance from SD Raiders and Macarthur FC. Well, that first half especially, the Bulls were a little bit off it. But it was a pretty evenly contested game for much of that game. And again, SD Raiders controlling large passages of that contest. Penalty shootout victory in the end against the Bulls. And now through to take on Sydney FC. Tarnley, good to see you here, man. How are you doing, bro? Good to see you. Jacob's predicting a 2-0 win for Sydney FC. Tarnley says, what if all the A-League teams get knocked out? Dude, there's 2 left. That's the other thing I have to say. There's 2 left. It is unprecedented. We are in unprecedented times with the A-League teams. Just getting knocked out left, right, and centre. And there's 2 left in the quarterfinals. That is Sydney FC and Melbourne Victory. Malak, good to see you here as well. I've been well, mate. I've been very, very well. We're keen to jump back on the stream here. It's been a few weeks since our last one. We did a live watch along during the round of 32. So we are back here for the quarterfinals. And the plan is to do a stream next week for Preston Lions South Melbourne. So if you are keen for that, let me know. That is next week on Wednesday evening. So, kickoff is almost upon us, folks. I am calling Sydney FC to win. That is my prediction. I think I'll have too much in the end. From what we've seen so far in the Cup from Sydney FC, I think they'll be too good for SD Raiders. They're a good team, Sydney FC, and they've got some good players. So, no excuses not to watch this game, because it is on YouTube. Thanks for joining us, everyone. First of 4 quarterfinals. Great to have. I mean, interesting to have the quarterfinals so quickly after the round of 16. Round of 16 just wrapped up last week. So we are straight into the quarterfinals here, semi-finals set to take place, I think, next month sometime. Obviously, no dates confirmed just yet, but the semi-final could well take place next month. And I believe in the domestic match calendar, they listed October. Was it October 10? It was one of those first Saturdays in October for the Australia Cup final. But again, those dates could change. Malik asks, who are you rooting for this game? I mean, watching from a neutral point of view, of course, not being a fan of either of these sides. But hey, would love to see the underdog win. I mean, I'm a Central Coast Mariners fan, so Sydney FC, I would definitely consider one of Mariners' close rivals. So I'm definitely not rooting for Sydney FC, let's just say that. Dude, that Milanovic free kick, that was an absolute cracker. The one against Victory. Fantastic free kick. Yeah, I was sitting on my couch watching it a few weeks ago, that Saturday night game. And an interesting game. It was a game that didn't really have too many sort of big, not many chances created throughout the match. But that free kick from Milanovic was fantastic. I think it's a top move for Wanderers to bring him back to the A-League. We're live on TikTok as well before this game gets underway. Hello to everyone. We are set to watch SD Raiders Sydney FC in the Australia Cup quarterfinals tonight. the first of 4 quarterfinal matchups. Is there a team that you want to win this cup? Asks Malik in the live chat. Is there a team that I want to see win the cup? Dude, I mean, just from, again, a neutral point of view, wouldn't it be crazy if like North Sunshine Eagles go all the way? North Sunshine Eagles, a team from Victoria, they're not even in NPL Victoria. They're in the next tier below that. Wouldn't that be a story? Wouldn't that be something? But this, I tell you what, we are set. We are in unprecedented times right now with the number of A-League teams that are being eliminated in this competition. And right now in the Australia Cup, this year, 2026, feels like the year where we may well see a non-A-League side, an NPL side, win this thing, which would be incredible. It would be incredible. Tanley says, I'll back the SD Raiders since my team is Wanderers. Yes, of course. A Wanderers fan could never barrack for Sydney FC, of course. All right. The stream has just gone live on YouTube. The broadcast has begun on YouTube. Of course, for those that don't know, this game is available and free to watch for everyone. It's on YouTube. SD Raiders Sydney FC. Thanks for joining us. Score prediction, I'm going... What did I put out my predictions video earlier today. I think I said 3-1. I think I said 3-1 Sydney. 3-1 Sydney FC. Yeah. While SD Raiders, famous victory to defeat an A-League opposition last time out in the round of 16, that was MacArthur. SD Raiders defeating them in a penalty shootout. That was a famous victory. And they'll have a lot of momentum and confidence heading into tonight. This is a huge, huge game for SD Raiders. One of the biggest games for them in recent times. I think Sydney FC are going to be far too difficult here. I would be really surprised if SD Raiders did get the win tonight. I just think Sydney FC have too much quality. A Football Oz in the live chat asks, you think Western Sydney Wanderers will do better this season? I think they will. How much better they do is I think up for debate. So the teams are in the tunnel, set to enter the field of play any moment. But yes, I think Wanderers will do better this season. To be fair, it's not hard. Not hard for them to do better than what they did last season. As we know, Wanderers were awful last season. They really were. Considering the expectations that everyone had for Wanderers heading into last season. Again, a video that we did after the end of the last A-League season, reacting to my ladder prediction from the beginning of the season, which is always an interesting one. And yeah, for those that didn't see it, last season I predicted Wanderers to finish first. I predicted Wanderers to win the competition last year, and they finished last, which sums up how difficult it is to predict the A-League. But yeah, Wanderers should not have been anywhere near the bottom of the table last year, heading into the campaign. So yeah, I think under Ufuk Talay, I think Wanderers are going to be a whole lot more competitive this season. That's for sure. That's right, Marcus. We're back, mate. Good to see you here, dude. Hope you're doing well. Malik asks, this one's more of a personal question since you're a Central Coast Mariners fan. Which player in the Central Coast Mariners are you looking forward to most and high hopes for? It's an interesting question. Mariners have signed a lot of young players for this upcoming campaign. And I put out a new video on my dedicated Mariners fan channel, Coast Watch Football. Check it out if you're interested. Talking about the transfer window so far and all the ins and outs we've seen. It's a tricky one. There's obviously so many players to pick from. I'll tell you what, I was really impressed with Ollie O'Carroll in the Mariners Australia Cup round of 32 match against Sydney United 58. Ollie O'Carroll, young midfielder, 17 years of age, coming over from Melbourne City's academy, showed some bright signs. So I'm keen to see how he goes. All right, kickoff is about to get underway. Hello, Ava on TikTok. We are watching it on YouTube. The game is on YouTube, available for everyone to watch for free. How good's that? How good's that? So good. So good. So, it's a strong Sydney FC team tonight. It's a near full strength Sydney FC side. Obviously, a couple key injuries. A devastating injury for striker Victor Campuzano, who will be out for some time with that injury that he sustained recently. Some great comments and questions in the live chat. Tarnley, member of the channel, thanks for joining us as always, mate. Do you think it's rustiness or is the gap closing? Is the gap closing between the A-League and NPL sides? Look, I think I think there's numerous factors to why the NPL sides are really we're seeing all these cup sets this year. I think the preseason factor is a huge thing we should be considering. Like if these games were, if the script was flipped, and well, actually no, let's just say if both if the NPL and A League season were running at the same time, I think we'd see way less cup sets. It's so early on in preseason. There's still 2 months until the A League season starts. This is early on in preseason for these A League teams. I think A League teams in peak season, I think we wouldn't see many cup sets at all. Yeah, and again, like we often see a ton of top signings. Like often a lot of foreign signings arrive late on in the transfer window. So a lot of these sides are still building their teams. Like in a lot of these cup games, we see teams field younger players. So yeah. All right, folks, here we go. It is the Australia Cup quarterfinals. SD Raiders, Sydney FC. Thanks for joining us. We are about to get underway. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button. You can also consider supporting the channel by sending in a super chat or check out the channel memberships. The A-League season is still a couple months away, but we are looking forward to it. So, Sky Blues, the pressure is on them. They are the team who are favourites heading into this game and need to perform. But for the Sky Blues, it was a 5-1 win against Bayswater City in the round of 32. It was a 4-2 win for Sydney FC against Brisbane Roar in the round of 16. Here we go, folks. Here we go. Football Oz is back in SD to win 1-0. That'd be something. It would be one of the most historic Australia Cup sets if they could get it done. Here we go. We are underway. Thanks for joining us, everyone. So, Sky Blues, we'd surely expect them to control the bulk of possession, you would imagine. And it is a strong team. While there are a couple, younger players featuring here tonight for Sydney FC, this is still a very, very good team that Sydney FC are fielding tonight. Gus Hofslut getting the start in goals once again. Of course, Harrison Devonish Mears recovering from injury. That's a back four of Ryan Grant, Alex Popovich, Jordan Courtney Perkins, and Ben Garuccio. In midfield, Joe Lacey getting the start once again here. Interesting to see. Alongside Reece Yuley. And those attacking players. Those 4 attacking players for Sydney FC. So much talent. You've got Takahiro Sakine, the Japanese winger who they brought in recently, and he scored his first Sydney FC goal in that round of 16 victory against Brisbane Roar. Tiago Quintal playing that central attacking midfield role tonight. And a Colacon on that right wing. This is a good move from Sydney. Oh, this is great. Here we go. Are they in already? Quintal crossing it in. Garuccio. And the follow-up from Sakine is blocked. Dude, this is desperate defending from SD Raiders, because here come the Sky Blues again. Quintal steal. That's a decent cross. SD Raiders getting just about everyone in the box to hold on there, because the Sky Blues all of a sudden were bursting forward. A couple blocked efforts. Bright start there for Sydney. Question from Football Oz back in the live chat. Why do you support the Mariners? I support the Central Coast Mariners because I am from the Central Coast. My local area. So, pretty straightforward answer there. Oh, dude, I remember that. That's right. Audio Red Rooster, you said you would in the Australia Cup round of 32. Yes, that last live stream. For those who weren't there, I remember that in our last live stream. I can't remember how we got on to talking about it, but we got talking about Red Rooster for some reason. And I mentioned how I don't think I've had Red Rooster in like 20 years or something. And then I said maybe I should get it for the next stream. I've completely forgot about that. I'll have to organise it for next time, mate. Thanks for that's the reminder I needed. Well, I'll tell you what, our next live stream, we are planning on doing a watch along for Preston Lions South Melbourne next week, so that might have to be Red Rooster night next week. We'll see. So SD Raiders with a chance to get themselves on the ball. Let's see what they do. Ooh, bit of space in midfield. Good pressure on the ball, though. Takahiro Sakine. So another look here at Sakine, the Japanese winger, new arrival here at Sydney FC. He's shown really promising signs. He's playing on that left wing, again for the Sky Blues. And, with the departure of Joe Lolly, we know Sydney FC needed to bring in another winger. And Sakine looks like he's a decent player indeed. Marcus, should there be worry for the future of the A-League? I don't think so. While there are obviously disappointing things that happen and concerning things, and obviously we are all extremely disappointed, with the news regarding Western United recently, last week. I think there's still lots of reasons to be excited. And, hey, if we can get behind this thing, we can really make it work. So, yeah. If you've been watching this channel for a long time, you know that I'm a big advocate for the A-League, and I believe there's a whole lot of positives to focus on. Of course, not ignoring the negatives and the poor decision making and some of the shortcomings. There are, of course, numerous problems that have to be addressed still. But this league is young, it is growing, it is developing, it's still finding its feet, it's having ups and downs, but that. There's still a lot of great times ahead, I think. That's right, Malik. Yeah, Red Rooster. Very random, but what is your favorite fast food chain? A Porto. If you guys don't eat a Porto, I'm not sponsored or anything. I mean, if a Porto want to sponsor the channel, sure. But I legitimately just love a Porto. Having said, I don't actually eat a Porto all that often, to be fair. Guzman. GYG, Guzman y Gomez. That's probably, do you consider that fast food? I would. That's probably the fast food I eat the most. Yeah. These are the sorts of discussions that pop up when during our live watch-alongs, folks. Thanks for joining us this evening. It's SD Raiders Sydney FC. It's the Australia Cup quarterfinals. Chance to go through to the final four. SD Raiders of NPL New South Wales are here. They have made it through to the final eight. It is a fantastic achievement for SD Raiders. And for Sydney FC, of course, we should highlight Sydney FC, often a strong team when it comes to the Australia Cup. They have had some early exits, but they won the competition 3 years ago. We should not forget. Tanley, a Prego burger's my go-to at a Porto. A Prego all the way, mate. Prego sauce. Love it. Colacon, a little coming together with the defender, and is there a free kick? I don't think so. So Colacon, wearing the number 7 this season for Sydney FC. He was wearing 44 last year, for memory. Wearing the number 7, which is perhaps an indication, if you want to read into that a Colacon is well and truly going to be a key player for the Sky Blues this season. I wouldn't be surprised if it is him and Sakine playing in those wide roles this upcoming A-League campaign for the Sky Blues. But as mentioned a moment ago, Sydney FC winning the Australia Cup in 2023. Defeated Brisbane Roar in the final at Allianz Stadium 3 years ago. 7 minutes into this contest, it's SD Raiders 0, Sydney FC 0. So far, SD Raiders unable to really create any chances or get sort of in the penalty area. And Sydney FC had that bright little attacking moment about 5 minutes ago. Have you seen the Irankunda Sporting promo video, Tanley? I don't think I've actually watched the whole thing. Obviously, it's a very exciting move. Irankunda sealing that deal to Sporting. Hopefully he has a very successful season ahead in Portugal. All right, Marcus. Yeah, big questions. Is Toure going to move to Hull, Sporting, or Porto? Or will he stay at Norwich? Also, do you think Sydney should wait another year before selling a con? Second question is quicker to answer. Do I think Sydney should wait before selling a con? Yes, big time. Yeah, of course. He's still what, 17? How old's a Con? 17? He's made his debut last year as a 16-year-old from memory, so he's probably only just 17 years of age at Colacon. Yeah, have another year in the A-League. And again, as I was just talking about him, he's probably going to be playing week in, week out. I mean, when Patrick Kisnorbo came in, he was starting a Colacon regularly last season. So I think Cole's going to be a real star for Sydney FC this year. And if he plays regularly, scores goals, grabs assists, next year he's going to be 18, still so young. He's going to attract some serious interest. I mean, he already is. There's already been some reports surrounding a Colacon. And that first question from Marcus there a moment ago, there was I believe it was Rudy Galetti on social media reporting that that Mo Toure, Socceroo striker Mo Toure, linked with some big clubs, linked with Hull, Sporting, Porto. Was Sporting one of them? There you go. Could be joining in Nkunda. I remember the Hull City one though, because obviously Lucas Harrington, Socceroos defender, going to Hull City recently. So, I mean, he's had a great run of form at Norwich City. Great goal scoring run so far. He's across for Sydney. Well defended indeed. There, SD Raiders, who get it clear. But yeah, man, I'd love to see it. I don't know if it will happen necessarily. I mean, for Mo Toure, he's only been in England for the last, he arrived in January. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he just feels like he wants to have another season in the Championship, a full season in the Championship, before maybe making the step up to the Premier League. Yeah, man. Troy, good to see you here, mate. Says, I'm thinking Sydney could be top 3 this season. Yeah. It's always tricky to predict with A-League teams' Australia Cup runs. They don't always equal success. It did for Newcastle last season. Newcastle won the Australia Cup and then it went on to win the A-League Premiership. But for Sydney FC, yeah, man, I think they're building a good team. I think they've got their young players are really progressing well and being given regular game time. And yeah, signed a new striker just the other day as well. Tanley also a moment ago said, looks like Jordan Boss will miss the Asian Cup. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Fingers crossed, hey? Fingers crossed that Geordie Boss, that his recovery goes well. Here's a chance for Sydney. Cross the face of goal. Con regathers it. Thiago Quintal inside for Lacey. What can the Sky Blues do here? Thiago Quintal at the centre of things creatively for Sydney FC, unsurprisingly, of course. But FC Raiders having to do a lot of defending at the moment because the Sky Blues, 11 minutes in, are looking for the opening goal of the game. Corny Perkins. Popovic. Rhys Hewley. Of course, no Paul Okonexler for Sydney FC anymore. The Socceroos midfielder had a great campaign in the A-League last time out with Sydney FC. And he had a great World Cup, didn't he, Paul Okonexler? Really great World Cup, and he's earned that well-deserved move to FC Cologne in Germany, in the top flight of Germany, of course, as well, for Paul Okonexler. But it's a big loss for Sydney FC in the heart of midfield. Rhys Hewley is starting there alongside Joe Lacey. They, of course, also recently signed Jake Holman, who's back in the A-League. Wataru Kamijo as well. Player who often features in midfield. So still got some options there, the centre of the park, Sydney FC. Troy says, they certainly have a strong team, Sydney FC. I also saw a former Premier League player from Denmark was linked with Melbourne City. Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about, Troy. His name, I've completely forgotten. But yes, I know what you're talking about, Troy. Someone jump in the live chat. Yeah, there's been some murmurs on social media about another player being linked with Melbourne City. I've completely blanked on his name, so someone jump in the live chat if you know who we're talking about. A-League X is here. Good to see you here, mate. Hope you're doing well. Marcus earlier asking, who do you reckon? Marcus, we'll come back to your question because there's a little bit of commotion here. SD Raiders aren't happy with the referee. There's some conversations going on as we speak. Because as Sydney FC were trying to drive forward on the ball, Ben Garuccio involved, and I mean, I didn't see much of a foul there. The SD Raiders players weren't really happy with it. there wasn't that much of a foul. I don't know. It's just a bit of a wrestle from everyone involved. But anyway, Marcus's question: who do you reckon is looking like the best team going into this season? I think if Mata comes back, it is Victory. Victory could well be up there once again. Well, we're speaking about Sydney FC. I think they could be up there. I think Melbourne City are going to bounce back. I think signing Mobiles, I think fantastic. So Melbourne City is another one. Melbourne City, Sydney FC, Victory could be up there again. The big teams, man. Cross comes in from the free kick for Sydney, up in the air still, and Ocon's header is plucked out of the air by the Raiders goalkeeper. So, Sydney FC showing some bright signs here. Had a good free kick opportunity just a moment ago. Didn't really come to anything in the end. Ooh, coughed up possession here. Here's a chance for Sydney. It's Sakine around the goalkeeper. Sakine still. Oh, incredible defending. Oh my goodness me. Takahiro Sakine so close to the opening goal of the game. A massive mess at the back for SD Raiders. Huge mess. Little back heel and great pressure from Sakina. This is what I was talking about. He's showing really good signs, and a couple times tonight he's just shown like the pressing, just sprinting at the opposition players, and that on that occasion winning the ball and rounded the goalkeeper. Luckily for SD Raiders, they had defenders there to make the intervention. What a fumble indeed, Marcus. What a fumble indeed. All right, what are we saying? Going back to that Melbourne City player that we were talking about, a player linked with Melbourne City, Emiliano Marcondes. Thank you, A-League X. Marcus earlier said, looks like Lacey has replaced Ocon. So far, so good in my opinion. Troy also says, I just remembered he played for a few clubs, most notably Norwich and Brentford, but can't remember his name either. Yes, that's right. He did play for Norwich, didn't he? Emiliano Marcondes. So we'll see if that move does come to fruition. Lightning says, I feel like we won't have any A-League teams in the semi-finals. This is the year of the cup sets, isn't it, Lightning? This is the year of the cup sets. We have 8 teams remaining in the Australia Cup. We're in the quarterfinals, and there's only 2 A-League teams. It is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Raiders shot from range. That is not going to trouble Gus Hoofsloot, but it is the first shot on target for SD Raiders from Fernandez. So, thanks for joining us so far, folks. We are here watching SD Raiders Sydney FC in the Australia Cup quarterfinals. We do a whole lot of Australian football coverage here on the channel. If you want to support, hit the like button. You can also consider sending in a super chat or checking out the channel memberships. We're going to have some members-only content on the way, especially as we get closer to the A-League season. Socceroos in action next month as well, of course. I just noticed that on my calendar. Just over a month until the Socceroos take on Brazil for a pair of friendlies in Queensland. Lightning asks, Lockie, what are your thoughts on South Melbourne wanting the A-League? I think we deserve it. I'd love to see it. I think we'd all love to see it. They're a team with a great history, South Melbourne, and they've got great aspirations, of course. South Melbourne. I think it'd be awesome, man. They've got a big fan base. They're a club with a great deal of passion. So I'd love to see it. Obviously winning the Oz Championship, making it to the final of the OC Pro League, South Melbourne. So yeah. That's right, Troy. Yeah, Rafa Duran signed for Wellington. Interesting move. Yes, we saw that today. Rafa Duran, let's come back to that. Sydney FC are in here. It's McAllister round the keeper. Surely. Oh, it's off the line. Oh my goodness. Another stunning opportunity for Sydney FC. McAllister denied on the line by a defender. He did well to get around the goalkeeper, but that's the second time that Sydney FC have gotten straight through in behind. Unbelievable. But yeah, Troy, interesting move there for Wellington. Rafa Duran, I think showed some decent signs at MacArthur last year. I don't think he really sort of showed his best. I think he's got another level to go to, Rafa Duran. So I think it's a decent signing. It's a decent signing for Wellington Phoenix, I think. Tycho, my tip is Sydney FC still at this stage. That was my tip prior to the game as well. Okolikon on the right side, trying to wrestle. There's been a real battle on that left hand, on ST Raiders' left hand side. It's Rag, the left back, who's done a really good job defending Okolikon. Okolikon on that right wing, just trying to get things happening on that right side. Sorry, missed that comment from earlier in the live chat. How do you guys think Sunday and potentially Overy will be integrated into Sydney squad? Yeah, Sunday looks like a decent signing, new striker. And James Overy, a name that has been rumoured, linked with Sydney FC. Nothing official yet. The James Overy one's interesting because you look at the fullback areas for Sydney and it's pretty solid. You've got Ryan Grant and Zach De Jesus, who can play at right back, and at left back you've got Ben Garuccio, you've got Jordan Courtney Perkins. Obviously Courtney Perkins now these days playing often as a centre back. So it's a curious one. I think the Overy link to Sydney FC is a fascinating one because James Overy wouldn't want to be sitting on the bench. But, Ryan Grant, I think Ryan Grant's still a very solid player. I think Ryan Grant's more than capable of playing week in, week out still. Some great comments as well coming in here. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Also, Troy earlier saying Sakine will be interesting to watch this season. Yeah, promising signs. Promising signs so far. Ooh, Marcus says, the only thing I could see is if Overy comes in, Grant moves back into the midfield. Ooh. I don't know, man. Maybe. Or maybe Grant to like centre back. Maybe Ryan Grant goes to centre back. I don't know. But Grant to midfield, maybe. Could be interesting. But yeah, if they're bringing in if James Overy's come to the A-League, he would want to be playing week in, week out. Here's a chance for Sydney. Nice play. Sakine on the left. Goes short with the delivery. And low, cleared away. Tan Lee asks, any news on Lewis Miller? Not that I've seen. We are wishing Louis Miller all the best with his injury recovery. Troy also says Ryan Grant's definitely going to be trying to break the all-time A-League appearances record. Yes, didn't we figure it out? I remember on a previous live stream. Didn't we figure it out? Or someone mentioned that he could break it this coming season. Yeah, surely he will. Here's Sakine, edge of the box. For Grant. Ryan Grant, who we were just talking about. Okolikon on the right. Sydney FC moving it around. But look at the number of defenders that SD Raiders have in the way. Oh, good runner, Cole. Good runner, Con. Oh, brilliant work. Cleared up into the air by Rag. SD Raiders just scramble it clear for a throw. But again, Sydney FC folks are getting closer. They are getting closer. A-League X, Lockie, is there an A-League content creators match this year? Always an exciting bunch of videos. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. I remember, the last one I was involved in was a few years ago now. I remember there was a couple A-League content creators matches during Unite Round. Who remembers Unite Round? It feels like ages ago, right? That was great fun, man. That was great fun. Yeah, it'd be cool to do something like that again. It's been ages. And obviously there's a fantastic community of content creators around Australian football. Really, really fantastic people. So, yeah, man, that'd be cool. Here comes Rag down the left side for Raiders. Offside flags up. Okie dokie. Going back to Ryan Grant. Yeah, Troy was saying it was like 20 games he needs or something. Should be interesting. There you go. He certainly could break it this season then. Yeah. Marcus asks, when are we getting new kits? Should be coming out. What are we in now? August. There's still 2 months from the season. I think into September. We'll probably be seeing plenty of kits released. We already have Wanderers kits. Wanderers released their kit really early. And didn't Auckland? Haven't we got Auckland's kit? I think it's just Wanderers and Auckland who have revealed their A-League kits. Obviously, some clubs revealed Australia Cup kits. But yeah, from memory, I think Auckland and Wanderers. Someone correct me if I'm mistaken. I believe Auckland revealed their A-League kit. But yeah, man. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with in regards to new kits for the new season. I'm sure they are just around the corner. Nice play from Sydney down the left again. Garuccio. That's going to be a corner. Corner Sydney. A-League X also a moment ago mentioning that Noah Botic is out injured for around 3 months. Sustained a broken foot, another potential Socceroo out. Yeah, Noah Botic moved over to Europe just over a year ago now, and very promising striker. Hopefully his injury recovery goes well, and maybe you could find some form ahead of the Asian Cup next year. That's right, Troy. Yeah, don't Auckland participate in the FIFA Intercontinental Cup in a week or so? That may be why. Indeed, and yes, they do. Header from Ryan Grant off that corner. Was going wide, and Figueroa, the goalkeeper for SD Raiders, able to claim that one. So Raiders, they were looking to go for that quick counter-attack, but the long ball wasn't on. And well done, Joe Lacey, driving forward. Tiago Quintal making things happen for Sydney. Yuli. I mean, this has been an interesting 25 minutes so far this game. SD Raiders have barely had anything going forward, to be fair. I mean, they've had that one shot on target from long range that was never going to trouble Gus Hoofslot. Sydney FC have had some great chances, some great opportunities, and there's been some credit to SD Raiders who have been defending quite well. There's been some real desperation at the back there for the Raiders, and they knew heading into tonight that they were going to have to do a lot of defending, and they've been really digging deep at the back. Love to hear it, Lining. South Melbourne guaranteed to compete in the OFC Pro League. The next one. And they'll be looking to go one better. Made it to the final last year in the OFC Pro League South Melbourne, so we'll see if they can go all the way through and win the thing. So free kick for the Raiders. Joe Lacey just receiving a bit of a talking to from the referee. So this is big, man. Set pieces are going to be important here for the Raiders. So let's see what SD Raiders can manufacture from this position. Free kick coming in from this wide position out on the left wing. But again, after 26 minutes, they've barely gotten into the front third here, SD Raiders. So got to try and make something happen from this free kick. The delivery's okay. Out wide to the right. Still on for them. Ball clipped in. It's not bad, but good goalkeeping from Gus Hoofslot, who's just comfortably wandered out to claim it. So Sydney FC have been in control of a lot of this game. Let's see if SG Raiders can now turn the tide a little bit, because they're on the ball around that halfway line as we speak. Thanks for joining us tonight, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hit that like button if you haven't done so already. A-League X, what do you think of the 3 A-League teams getting the draws in the Champions League Elite and 2? Yeah, man. Some really interesting draws. I think Melbourne Victory have a tough draw. I think especially FC Seoul will be a tough test for Victory. Adelaide, I mean, well, all the matches are going to be tough, of course, when you get to these sorts of competitions, especially for Newcastle Jets. They're coming up against, I think, four or five sides from Japan, Newcastle Jets. KJV, thanks very much for that kind super chat, mate. Says, I appreciate the work you put in for the A-League, KJV. Thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate that. And really appreciate that very kind super chat. We are all about promoting Australian football, and that means promoting the A-League. It's got a whole lot of potential. A whole lot of potential, the A-League, and if we get behind it, it can turn into a really, really special competition. I do believe that. And, well, if you're here, you probably see the potential in the A-League as well. If we get behind this thing, we can certainly make it work and flourish. Flourish. So shout out to KJV for that very kind super chat, mate. Appreciate your support of the channel. Troy, Mariners question, love it. For those that don't know, any new viewers to the channel, I'm a Central Coast Mariners fan, alongside member Troy. Troy asks, do you think we will see Sainsbury play this season? We definitely need more experience. Happy with the youngsters we have, but it's going to make it tough this season. Yes, a lot of pressure on our experienced players. Surely he will, Trent Sainsbury. Hopefully his injury recovery is going well. I reckon we will, Troy. I reckon we'll see how much involvement he will have. It's hard to say, but surely he'll feature. Whether that means starting week in, week out, yeah, we'll see. But yes, new video out on the Coastwatch Football channel today as well, talking about the Mariners transfer window so far. So if anyone is interested in checking that out, I've got a Mariners fan channel called Coastwatch Football. You can check that out later if you're interested. Enjoy Laval. I miss him, says Lightning. Yes, that's right. Ollie Laval was previously playing his football with South Melbourne before joining the Mariners in January. And I think he's set for a big campaign, Laval. He could well be the starting striker for the Mariners this season. Ollie Laval, still just 21, 22, still young. Ollie Laval, whole lot of potential. So keen to see how he goes this season. We are half an hour into this Australia Cup quarter-final, and it's SD Raiders 0, Sydney FC 0, and SD Raiders, I think, are going to be okay with this. While they haven't really created any chances, they've managed this game quite well, SD Raiders. Sydney FC, they have gotten behind on a few occasions, but SD Raiders are defending well, bodies on the line, digging deep, holding on. And it's 0-0. It remains scoreless after the first half now. SD Raiders have had a decent amount of possession in the last 5 or so minutes, haven't they? They've started to regain a little bit of momentum, a little bit of control. Really good attendance as well. I mean, we haven't spoken about that, but looking across the ground, obviously it's great to see the Australia Cup games taken to these more suburban grounds, if you like. This is certainly certainly not an Allianz Stadium. What is it? I can't remember where this game's being played. Someone inform me in the live chat. Can't recall. Someone let me know in the live chat. Where is this game being played? I've forgotten the name of the actual ground. But it's great seeing these cup games taken to these, again, I guess you would consider it a suburban ground. But obviously, sort of rival team, local rivals, if you like, Sydney FC, SD Raiders, 2 teams in Sydney. So unsurprisingly, plenty of Sydney FC fans in the house for this one. Tomorrow night is the next quarterfinal. It's Apia Leichhardt Melbourne Victory. We won't be doing a live watch along for that one, but certainly very curious to see how it plays out, because you've got Apia Leichhardt, one of the top teams in Australia outside of the A-League. Apia Leichhardt have made some really good runs in the Australia Cup in years gone by. And could they qualify for the semi-finals? Well, they've got a big test against Melbourne Victory, but that'll be a cracker to watch tomorrow night. And then next week, Lions FC of Queensland hosting North Sunshine Eagles, it's side from Victoria. And then we've got another just absolutely mouth-watering matchup. It's Preston Lions, South Melbourne, which is just going to be an absolutely unreal game. Lightning for football as a South Melbourne fan, and that's going to be a huge game. Long ball for Sakine, great chance, it's a goal. Takahiro Sakine has just scored. Well, SD Raiders did so well to hold on for as long as they did. Sakine has just scored in Fairfield. Thanks for that, Troy. Where this game is being played, Fairfield Showground, if I'm not mistaken. There you go. It's a lead in the quarterfinal, and it is a goal in consecutive games. Takahiro Sakine. And how about the ball from Lacey? Joe Lacey just lifting it over the top. SD Raiders will be disappointed with that, how easily that goal was scored for Sydney. The ball over the top. Sakine with the time and space to control and the finish. I mean, that was hard to stop for the goalkeeper. It's 1-0. Sydney lead. Sydney lead. That's right, A-League X. Sakine again. What a signing for Sydney. What a signing indeed. He scored against Brisbane last time out. And now for Takahiro Sakine, the Japanese winger, another goal here. This time in the quarterfinals. So he's made a great start to life in Australia as Takahiro Sakine. 2 goals, 2 games. And Sydney FC have got the lead. And it was a really nicely constructed goal. Again, I mean, great finish from Sakine. Brilliant stuff. Great control. But that ball over the top from Lacey was especially exquisite. Really, really nice goal. Marcus also said this guy is the real deal. Very promising signs if you are a Sydney FC fan. So for SD Raiders, how do they respond now? What's the plan? What's the plan from here? Because they really haven't had many chances. And I was complimenting SD Raiders because they had defended really well up to this point. But they did really sort of fall asleep a little bit at the back there, the way that ball was just drifted over and Sakine was able to control and get the strike away. That is right, A-League X. That could be on the cards. A Sydney FC Melbourne Victory semi-final. It could be on the way. Obviously, Sydney need to go through here and then Victory. They've got Apia Leichhardt tomorrow in the quarterfinal. But important goal there for Sydney. They'd gotten in behind on a couple of occasions previously. Hadn't found the goal, but now they do have it. Down the left-hand side, SD Raiders looking to progress. Strong challenge from Popovic, but it's a throw-in in a good position here for the hosts. Offside flag is up, not for the first time today. For SD Raiders. A-League X, yeah, I think Apia Leichhardt versus Melbourne Victory is the most unpredictable quarterfinal. Yeah, dude, honestly. Like, I mean, you would probably usually predict Victory to win that game, but with this year in the Australia Cup, you just don't know what's going to happen. So many cup sets. So, yeah, man, we could see it. We could see another cup set here. Victory are certainly not guaranteed a spot in the quarterfinals yet. In the semi-finals, I should say, yet. Long ball for McAllister. Defenders get there first and clear it down the line. Has it stayed in play? No. So less than 10 minutes remaining until half-time. Courtney Perkins down the left-hand side. The important thing here for SD Raiders is that they really do not want to concede a second goal before half-time. That would put them in a real predicament. Indeed. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Hope you're having a great Tuesday night. Hope you're enjoying the football. Australia Cup quarterfinal. Giving us our dose of Australian football. Obviously, all eyes on the A-League, which kicks off in just under 2 months now. It was great to have the fixtures for the A-League men's confirmed some time ago now, a few weeks back. And by the looks of things, the A-Leagues on their socials have been promoting the A-League women's fixtures, which could be dropping soon. A-League X with the comment here on Melbourne Victory says, I think Victory squad overall is not as strong as last year, especially with the big news on Nishan Velupale leaving today. I did see that, yeah. There was some talk online about Nishan Velupale perhaps departing Victory. A-League X says, definitely need 2 to 3 more signings attacking-wise. Yeah, and especially just the sort of the uncertainty surrounding Juan Mata and his involvement in regards to, whether he plays on this season at Victory. I think, obviously, if you're a Victory fan, you want him to continue. He was so good. Wasn't he? Juan Mata, just brilliant last season. It was a great season for him and Melbourne Victory. So, yeah, like if Velupale does indeed depart, and if Mata isn't there next season, going to make some moves, Melbourne Victory. Popovic with a long ball. Little flick from Quintal. In fact, it was Akine. Little flick that just didn't quite work out. Again, they're showing the replays of there was a little moment of panic just a moment ago as Huslett that was almost in, actually. That was almost an own goal. Gus Huslett had the ball passed back to him. Just got the touch wrong, and it almost ended up as an own goal, which would have been an absolute gift for SD Raiders. That was close indeed, Marcus. A-League X says, Mata was just incredible. So glad I got his picture. And, well, that sums it up, A-League X. Like, he was great for the fans as well. I mean, how good to have a World Cup winner, former Premier League player, Juan Mata, playing in the A-League. And, he attracted, and, I'm sure many fans to A-League games. Just for Juan Mata being there, So hopefully he does continue, man. He certainly, I think, has a whole lot more to offer still. Such a fantastic experienced player. Here's a chance for Raiders down the right-hand side. They're moving with a bit of pace now. The short pass wasn't really the right decision, and the free kick is awarded the way of Sydney. Again, another example of the Raiders players really not happy with the referee's decision-making, but to my eyes, that did look like a foul. Reece Yuley is still down on the turf after being on the receiving end of that challenge. Yeah, definitely a foul. I'm not sure why SD Raiders are contesting that. You can see the studs were almost raised there, flying in. Dangerous challenge there. But Reece Yuley is back on his feet and okay. Sydney FC. A-League Grand Finalists last year, folks. Which is interesting. It was interesting. I mean, the Sydney FC, they navigated the final series really well. That's something that we shouldn't have been, that we really shouldn't forget. While they did lose the grand final in the end to Auckland FC. For the Sky Blues, in the elimination final, they defeated Melbourne Victory away. And then defeated Newcastle Jets, the premiers, Newcastle Jets, defeated them over 2 legs. To get through to the grand final. It was a really impressive run that they went on to make it through to the A-League Grand Final last year. Under head coach Patrick Kisnorbo, I do believe that Kisnorbo is a really good A-League coach. He's succeeded at this level. He obviously had a great stint with Melbourne City. A brief spell with Melbourne Victory, you might remember, which was that last year? Was that last year, or was it the year before that? It's all a blur now, folks. Well, it would have been the year before. It would have been 2 years ago now that Kisnorbo was at Victory. Surely. Now at Sydney FC, Patrick Kisnorbo, his first full pre-season with the Sky Blues. Obviously, he arrived late on last A-League campaign. Here's a chance for Raiders. Oh! Best chance of the game for Raiders. Long-range shot. Blocked away Cross comes back in. Flicked on at the near post. And away by Yuli. Raiders just trying to keep this attack going. Another long-range effort, and Hoofsloot able to claim that one. But that was a good shot on target from long range. SG Raiders testing out Gus Hoofsloot there. Had to scramble to make that save. A-League X says, I think all Central Coast Mariners fans are regretting not signing Mata after Central Coast Mariners almost signed him for victory. Well, look, I don't even know what the situation was there. I mean, even as a Mariners fan myself, there were talks. Let's come back to that. Here's a chance for Sydney. They're in the box. Good defending SG Raiders. Get it clear. Yeah, look, I'm not sure what the situation was in the end with Mata and the Mariners. There was some talk around that. Perhaps even in regards to the ownership situation, but nothing came to fruition as a shot. It goes across the face of goal from SD Raiders, but tell you what, this has been a decent little finish to the end of the first half for SD Raiders. There's been some sights on goal for the hosts. And Gus Hoofsloot has really had to work in the last 10 minutes. Been much more involved. So SD Raiders, I think, will take a bit of confidence out of this first half display while they do trail. For the most part, they've defended well. And for the last 5-10 minutes, they've actually started to create some opportunities. But they're going to need to keep improving if they're going to find a way back into this game. They're going to need more. Just a 1 minute added on at the end of the first half. Stick around at the halftime break. Do a bit of a Q&A if you guys have any questions on anything Australian football. That includes A-Leagues, Australia Cup, Socceroos, Matildas. Jump into the live chat. We'd love to get your questions or comments, and always great having that live discussion with you guys. So SD Raiders looking for the equaliser at the end of this first half. The cross comes in. The delivery just doesn't quite have the right trajectory on it, and it's gone out for a goal kick. So look, yeah, good half from Sydney FC, I think you can say. Good half from Sydney FC. They've been good overall. They've got the goal. Lovely work from Sakina. Great ball. Great assist as well from Joe Lacey. But SC Raiders, yeah, they're going to need some more. They're going to need to try and find a little bit more control of the game and try and find a way just to create some more opportunities, because yeah, the shots that they have had have really just been from outside the penalty box. So it is half time. It's Sydney FC 1, SD Raiders 0. And the expectation heading into this game is that Sydney FC, were the favourites, I think. But obviously this year in the Australia Cup, it's always so hard to predict. There's been so many cup sets already, so who knows what's going to happen from here. It is just the 1-goal lead. Takahiro Sakine, a Japanese winger, getting on the score sheet for the second consecutive game as well, we should say. So it's been a great start to his Sydney FC career here for Takahiro Sakine. We'll take a look at the halftime stats as well, as Tan Lee says you should make a video ranking the A-League club's transfers. I think we'll probably do one after the transfer window wraps up, which is in about a month. It's like mid-September the transfer window closes. Yeah, I think we've done a video like that for previous windows too. I think we did one last year or maybe the year before. So yeah, Tarly, I appreciate the suggestion. We'll definitely have to look into that. Half-time stats. According to FOTMob, possession stats, Sydney FC 65%. SG Raiders are 35%. Sydney FC have had 9 shots, 5 on target. SD Raiders 7 shots, 3 on target. That's more than I would have thought. Didn't feel like they had that many shots. And yeah, like on the good thing about FOTMob is that they show. I almost want to like show you guys. That won't really work though. But like if you look at where SD Raiders have taken their shots, they've had 1 shot in the box. SD Raiders have had 1 shot inside the penalty area. All their other shots been from outside the box. Whereas for Sydney FC, They've only had one shot outside of the box. All their 8 out of 9 of their shots have been inside the box. So there you go. That sort of sums things up a little bit. Sums things up because Sydney FC, they've just been much more effective in actually getting inside the opposition's penalty box. Whereas for SD Raiders, they are having some trouble in that department and they're having to take their shots from long range. And for the most part, Gus Hoofsfoot has been relatively comfortable. So, some players that we could see maybe in the second half. Sydney FC have a fairly youthful bench. We could see Wataru Kamijo is a player who we do see feature a lot in midfield for Sydney. Perhaps he could feature Al Hassan Toure. Made his Socceroos debut at the end of last year. Al Hassan Toure on the bench today for Sydney. Gabriel Popovic and another attacking option on the bench for the Sky Blues. As well as youngsters Lancaster, De Jesus and Dyer. Those are the outfield players for Sydney FC. So, yeah, I mean, I wonder how Sky Blues fans, I wonder how you're feeling about that half. I think it's been good overall. But I think Sydney FC just want to continue to try and dominate this game. I wouldn't go as far, actually, to say that the Sydney FC have dominated this game. I don't think that's true. I don't think they have dominated it. It's a game where they've certainly created the better chances. There's no doubt about that, and they've had more possession. But SD Raiders have had some moments. Marcus says, Sydney looking strong. Could this be our year? From what we've seen so far in the Cup, there's promising signs. I think you look at their squad, I think it's looking good. I think they've got some of the top young players in the competition. I think Sydney FC could well be towards the top. Yep. I wasn't super optimistic about Sydney last season, and that was my error in the end. They did pull through in the end. Sydney FC made it through to the grand final. But this season, I mean, we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, I am liking what they're putting together this season. Alex asks, what club do you think should replace Western United? And how do you think the A-League could improve overall? Relegation, promotion, reverting back to the one club per city? Ooh. Yeah, some interesting questions there. I mean, who do I think we should replace Western United? I mean, like, for me, it's... So right now we have 12 teams in the A-League, right? In the men's, A-League men's, 12 teams. Rather than looking at it as like a replacing Western United, I think it should just be like 2 teams at a time brought in to maintain sort of an even number of teams. Let's jump back up to 14 teams. And again, for A-League expansion, I've always talked about Canberra and a second Queensland team. Got to get a second Queensland team. It's a massive state with a huge population. Get a second Queensland team. I think it would be beneficial for Brisbane Roar to have that rivalry. But hey, we were talking about South Melbourne earlier. I wouldn't mind seeing South Melbourne in there. That'd be cool. We've got what, 5 clubs in New South Wales, and just 2 now in Victoria. So yeah, wouldn't mind seeing South Melbourne in there as well. But obviously we want to see a men's team in Canberra, of course. But it's a big question from A-League X as well. How do you think the A-League could improve overall? Yeah, we'd all love to see relegation promotion. Yeah, without a doubt. I don't think we'll see it anytime soon. I think we're still a long way off that. You mentioned A-League X there, reverting back to the one club per city. I'm not a fan of that concept. I think having the rivalries is a good thing. I mean, you look at what, bringing in Western Sydney Wanderers and the Sydney derbies just has provided us some incredible scenes. There's been some cracking Melbourne derbies over the years. Yeah, man. I mean, I think another Brisbane team, or whether it's Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, North Queensland. I think another Queensland team would be good. Get a Queensland rivalry going. Blinkers is here as well. Good to see you here, Blinkers. Troy also mentioned no more clubs until they can sustain the current ones. But definitely Canberra needs a men's team, long overdue. Yes, that's the thing. Like, before we start talking about promotion, relegation, all that sort of stuff, that's the thing. It's like we have to just stabilize and sustain ourselves as it is. And hopefully we can, along with that, we can start to add some more clubs. I'd love to see the league get to 16 teams, which isn't ridiculous to consider. We're at 12 teams now. It's just 4 teams. Just introduce 2 at a time. Maybe in a few years they'll bring in 2, maybe. And then a few years after that, bring in another 2. Maybe in the next, 7, 8 years or so. Maybe we'll have 16 teams. Tassie Devils, how do they sound, says Troy. Yeah, I mean, Tassie would probably be the next team. I reckon I'd love to see, I tell you what, if I could pick 4 expansion teams, let's go South Melbourne. I think that'd be great. Second Queensland team, Canberra men's team, and Tasmania. Why not? Tasmania. Especially considering that the A-League's played in the summer. Tassie. You know, weather-wise. Oh, boy. Definitely Greece's A-League X. Yeah. I feel like A-League fans are aligned on a lot of things, hey? On a lot of things. Dilosh, good to see you here, mate. Welcome along once again. So it is half-time between SD Raiders and Sydney FC. The Sky Blues with that 1-goal lead. The goal courtesy of Takahiro Sakine. Lovely goal too. Great assist from Joe Lacey. Great to have you guys joining us here for the live stream tonight. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button, support the channel. Our next live watch along we are planning on doing is Preston versus South Melbourne for next week, which will be an absolute cracker. And then semi-finals. Semi-finals after that, we'll certainly have to line up some live streams for that one as well, and of course for the final. We've done a few live streams for Australia Cup finals in the past. We've done the last few. I recall the live watch along we did for Jets versus Heidelberg, the cup final from last year, and I remembered the previous year as well, MacArthur versus Melbourne Victory. Yeah. A-League X also says, I agree, having the derbies is great, but also considering we don't have anywhere near the amount of die-hard football fans to other countries. Not to say that we don't, which we definitely do. I mean, the population is certainly another thing to consider. I mean, obviously, yeah. And just the size of Australia. That's one thing that really sort of affects my thinking in regards to promotion and relegation. Like, it works, obviously, in European countries that are much smaller. But in Australia, it's just a completely different situation. The country's so big, so spread out. The cities are so spread out. It's tricky, man. It's really tricky. And look, it's great to have the Australian Championship. I think that's a pathway. It's a pathway to promotion and relegation, to have that national second tier. But yeah, man, we need to get the A-League to a spot where it's thriving. Not just surviving, but thriving and flourishing. And it can get there. It can get there. It's got an enormous amount of potential. I'm very, very optimistic about the potential of the A-League. Yeah, and it's just a matter of just sort of really building the support. And, as you were saying that A-League X a moment ago, you mentioning that, yeah, we don't have anywhere near the amount of die-hard football fans to other countries. Not to say that we don't, which we definitely do. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, there is like a big population of football fans in Australia. I mean, you just look at the people who get on board for the World Cup when Australia are involved. Yeah, we see the attendances for those big derby games, Sydney derbies, Melbourne derbies, for finals games. The attendances, like the fans are there, man. The fans are there. We just have to make sure the product is attractive to all football fans in this country. Malik, interesting question. Who do you think is winning the Golden Boot this season? Very early on, because I'm sure we'll still see some more signings throughout this season. You've put me on the spot, my friend. Who do I think will win the Golden Boot? First player that came to mind was Nicholas Milanovic. He could be up there. Scored a cracking free kick in the round of 16. So Nicholas Milanovic could find a strong run of form. Maybe Harrison Sawyer, Melbourne Victory. Harry Sawyer. He could be up there. Obviously, you got Sawyer and Nduka as well, the other striker there at Melbourne Victory. But I think Harry Sawyer, he was in some good form with Bulls last season. So I think Harry Sawyer could be set for a big year. What do you guys think as well? Feel free to jump in, join the conversation. Who will win the Golden Boot this season in the A-League men's? I'm curious to see how Sydney FC's new striker, Sunday, goes in the A-League. It feels like Adelaide probably still need to sign a striker. I mean, Adam Taggart could be up there again. You never know. Adam Taggart was relatively quiet last season, but he could still show up and have a cracker of a campaign. So Adam Taggart could certainly be up there again. And Sam Cosgrove. I probably should have said Sam Cosgrove. Sam Cosgrove will surely be up there once more. He was very, very good last season, Cosgrove. And yeah. Yeah, I think so. I probably should have said Sam Cosgrove. He's probably going to be the favourite. But the other guys I mentioned, Nick, I think could well and truly be up there for the Golden Boot race. And hopefully we do see a cracking Golden Boot race. In recent years, there's been some, low-scoring Golden Boot. Nothing against the players who have won those Golden Boots, but overall it has been lower, the tally. Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen a sort of a Jamie McLaren numbers, you know what I mean? Malak also said, not as a Golden Boot, but I want Awer Mabil to revive his talent one more time because he is phenomenal. He is fantastic, isn't he? Fantastic player. I think he's a great signing for Melbourne City. Maybe he could be a Johnny Warren medal contender. I think he certainly could, Awer Mabil. I think it's a top signing. Yeah, I'm surprised. I was surprised that City announced it. Just because, I mean, he was playing in the second division in Spain. It felt like that probably he could have kept playing, somewhere in Europe. But coming back to the A-League, Melbourne City, feels like a good fit, I think, too. Yeah, I think he could really flourish at Melbourne City this year. Tan Lee says, I hope Popovic makes use of the friendlies to experiment and call up more depths for the right wing back. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's tricky. I do hope so, but at the same time, taking on Brazil, so you want to make sure that we are still fielding a very, very strong team. But yeah, man, it'll be interesting to see what the squad looks like for that window next month. Well, that's another interesting question. Do you think Newcastle Jets will still finish in the finals, top 6? I think their transfer window has been good, Jets. I think while they've lost some great players, they've brought in some great players. They've brought in Grant, they've brought in Lolly. Yeah, man. I think they're still looking good. Virgos, I think, is a decent signing for Newcastle Jets. So I think Jets could still certainly be up there once again. I don't know if they'll necessarily be near the top, but I think a big factor that we have to consider for Newcastle Jets is the fact that they are juggling the Champions League elite. And that is sometimes difficult for A-League teams. Mariners struggled with it. Melbourne City struggled with it last season. Melbourne City, they made it through to the knockout phase of the Champions League elite, which is a good achievement for an Australian club. But it meant that they almost missed finals. Almost. No worries, A-League X. Thanks for joining us as always, mate. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Troy mentions, yeah, that's right, Berisha, the days of the goals were the best. Castro, Broich, yes, A-League legends. Those guys, Bessa Berisha, Diego Castro of Perth Glory, Thomas Broich, Brisbane Roar, Miloš Ninkovic, Sydney FC. I mean, that's those were like a lot of people consider the peak A-League days were those days of Berisha, of Castro, Broich, Ninkovic. These are A-League legends, if you like. Del Piero, perhaps, as well. Shinji Ono. But anyway, the year is 2026, and you are watching the Lockie Talks Football YouTube channel, and you are watching the live watch-along for this Australia Cup quarter-final. SG Raiders 0, Sydney FC 1. Second half is underway, folks. Here we go. All right. We have had a record number of cup sets this year in the Australian Cup. Are we set for another one tonight? Well, if we are going to get a cup set, it's going to require SD Raiders to turn this game around. They trail. SD Raiders are trailing. Just the one goal, though. That's the thing that SD Raiders fans should be remembering here. It is just 1-0. Doesn't appear that there's been any substitutions at the halftime break. Dilosh says, I think the NPL in Western Australia isn't as skilled as the big eastern states. Thoughts? Which state do you think is the most skilled in NPL? That's tricky. I mean, obviously I don't watch, the NPL in all the states. That would be impossible to do. I'm very aware that Western Australia has some fantastic clubs. I remember last year watching, goodness me, who was it? Was it Bentley? No, not Bentley. What am I talking about? Who was the team that? Oh, Olympic Kingsway. I was thinking they were green. They had a green logo. That's why I thought Bentley. Olympic Kingsway of WA defeated Melbourne Victory in the Australia Cup last year, of course. So Western Australia, they've got some fantastic clubs over there, and still, some former A-League players playing at some NPL clubs in WA. So it's a tricky question for me to answer, Dilosh. Obviously, people probably look at NPL New South Wales and NPL Victoria, and you've got some real top quality sides in those states. And when we look at the final rounds, the sort of the latter stages of the Australia Cup, we've got. Well, how many Victorian teams have we got here? Three Victorian teams still, with Preston Lions and South Melbourne and North Sunshine Eagles. We've got 2 NPL New South Wales sides, SD Raiders and Upper Leichhardt. And we've also got one Queensland side, Lions FC. Oz Cup winner prediction. I think it could be Sydney FC. Yeah. For me, I'd say Sydney FC at this stage. Tell you what, though, I think South Melbourne. It could be Sydney FC, South Melbourne in the final. I could see that happening. Yep. Marcus says, when Lockie said you are watching in 2026 and this live stream, I thought he would say something crazy. There was a comment on Garen Kowal. Oh, Malik was responding to Tan Lee's comment about the Socceroos squad. Says, I want Garen Kowal to come back into the Socceroos squad permanently for the 2030 World Cup because he's so talented. Yeah, I'd love to see it as well. Being a Mariners fan, I'm a big Garen Kowal fan, so I would love to see him return for the Socceroos for sure. Okie dokie, folks. It's been a bit of a stoppage in play for the last moment or so, as there was a really heavy landing for one of SD Raiders' players. Good to see that he's back to his feet and seemingly ready to continue. So this is going to be interesting, man, him, and whether we see SD Raiders really sort of go for it in the second half. How do they navigate the remainder of this game? They need to get back into this contest. They need to find the goal, and they've got just over 40 minutes to do it. Sydney FC, they have looked really dangerous on the attack tonight. But again, we're the sounds of things from you guys in the live chat here tonight, and from what I'm seeing myself here, I mean, Sydney FC, they're looking good, man. They're looking good. I think they're set for a good season. As soon as I said that, they've coughed it up in midfield. Here come SD Raiders. They've got it in the box, and the shot is blocked by Grant. But that's a shot from inside the box there, which is worth noting. A little bit more pressure being applied here from the Raiders as well, as Sydney FC are trying to play it out from the back. Perhaps committing some more numbers in forward positions here, Raiders. Oh, that's given away by Grant. So Raiders, let's see what they do here. On the left wing, the ball comes through. And again, just the final pass, the final delivery, just lacking there for SG Raiders again. Some really physical play here from both teams, fighting for the ball right on the sideline. But Raiders, again in possession, driving forward. Lacey wins it in midfield. Again, a little bit scrappy though. Quintal wins it back, and now he's challenged. Again, challenge is just flying in, and now the yellow card is being shown here. I don't mind the decision, because it was a pretty reckless challenge flying in there. No worries, Troy. That's right. It has happened before, hasn't it? Where a goal's gone in when you're not here. So, Star, g'day. Welcome. Tarnley also mentions, says, yep, keep getting notifications on FotMob of Gary Caldwell getting game time. Love it. Ooh, interesting question from Tom. Thanks for the question, mate. What are your thoughts on the feasibility of a second division in Australia? Yeah, I mean, we were talking a little bit about it earlier. I mean, obviously, there's so many factors you have to consider. The fact that Australia is just such a big country, so with this, the capital city is so spread out, there's lots of things that have to be figured out to make that second division successful and really have it thriving. But look, the Oz Championship gives us the pathway to that second division. There's a chance here for Sydney. Sakina, he's offside. But look, hopefully we do see the second division up and running and getting into a full season. Because as we know, the Australian Championship at the moment is sort of that shorter tournament that is played over just a couple of months. So it would be cool to see the Oz Championship sort of really expand and become a full campaign. So there's been a little bit of scrappy play in the last 5 minutes or so. Both teams just really jostling for possession in the middle of the park. For Sydney FC, I think from a Sky Blue point of view, you're probably wanting to get this second goal here. Because this hasn't been the most comfortable second half so far for the Sky Blues. They're really having to work here. This hasn't been an easy game for them. They've been caught on the ball a couple of times. Playing out from the back here. This is nicely done. Quintal through for Lacey, and then all of a sudden there's a ton of space. Lacey, good through ball, just too heavy though. Garuccio wanted it on the left, but that play out from the back from Sydney FC worked really well because they opened SD Raiders right up there. A lot of space through the middle of the park. On that second division, Tom also says, agreed. I think it's a great way to break the ice for spectators and clubs to get used to it. There are some financial limitations, though, regarding TV deals, stadium infrastructure, of course. Hopefully it can become a reality in a few years, indeed. To get the whole Australian football pyramid up and running and thriving. Thanks for joining us tonight, folks. Hope you're enjoying the game. Hope you're enjoying the stream. If you have, hit that like button if you haven't done so already. You can also consider supporting the channel by sending in a super chat or checking out our channel memberships, where you can support the content here. Down the left-hand side, SG Raiders showing a bit more promise, and that's a shot. Curling effort headed away. SG Raiders are showing a real great amount of spirit and fight at the moment. The second half has been impressive for them. It's been better than the first half. Well, they had a strong finish to the first half, but they're really going for it here, which is good. Which I think is what we wanted to see. There was probably a chance heading into the second half that Sydney FC were just going to sort of control things, slow down the game, but Sky Blues have got some headaches right now, man. 7 fouls for each team. So, free kick opportunity for the Raiders here. Out in a wide position. The delivery's not the best. It's a bit too low. And the Sky Blues will bring it away. So again, once they get into those areas, they need to be a little bit better with their deliveries there. The counter-attack is on for Sydney. That is a pretty cynical foul. Colacon was tripped up. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's a yellow card worthy incident, but looks like the referee's not going to show the yellow. So a free kick for Sydney FC, out wide. Still a fair way out from goal. But let's see if they can create something from this set piece. They haven't really had too many set pieces in this game, Sydney FC. A few corners. So Sakine and Garuccio standing over this one. Sakine, the right-footed option. But Garuccio is going to send it in with the left. Deep delivery, but Ryan Grant's completely unmarked. And for the scorpion kick, it was Jordan Courtney-Perkins who didn't really get the contact, but the offside flag was up regardless. So it remains 1-0. It's a bit of a nervy scoreline for Sydney FC. They would have seen what happened in the Australia Cup so far this year, obviously with the SD Raiders last game in the Cup. Defeating Macarthur SC, and you can never write off these NPL teams, man. Anything can happen. Sky Blues looking to create an attack. Lacey. Nice pass out to the right. Joe Lacey's looked good tonight. Had a good game. Fantastic assist for that goal earlier as well. Oh, good. Passing behind. Great chance for Sydney. Oh, my goodness me. That should have been goal number 2. Well, Sky Blues with a golden opportunity. And it was Ben Garuccio who popped up on the right wing, of all places. The left back. Oh, needed to square that up. What a chance. I mean, if SD Raiders go on to grab an equaliser, the Sydney FC are going to be looking back at that moment right there, because that just had to result in a goal. Garuccio needed to bury that, or the better choice was probably just, I think it was Quintal, who was just completely unmarked in the box. Just pass it to him and he buries it. And Sydney up 2-0. That is a phenomenal opportunity that the Sydney FC have just completely missed there. Tan Lee says, I'm still waiting for the equaliser from SD Raiders. As Marcus, who is a Sydney FC fan, says, I think we need a striker. Juicy Jason, welcome to the live chat, mate. Good to see you here. Here comes a Colacon. He's dispossessed in the penalty area, though. SD Raiders scramble it clear. You can watch this game on YouTube. It's on the Football Australia YouTube channel. It's been a good game, man. It's been a good game, Jason. It's Sydney FC have been the better of the two sides, but not by much, man. SD Raiders have had some moments. And it's just 1-0, so with still half an hour to go in this game, anything can happen. That's a foul from Ryan Grant. Looks like Raiders want the yellow. Quickly taken free kick, though. Over the top. Ooh, it's come through to Chianese, but Popovic is there to tidy up. Again, a bit of chaos about the football now. Now, this is a great chance. McAllister completely unmarked. It comes through to McAllister. Oh, he's made a mess of it. Oh, my goodness. Well, folks, I think we could probably say that Sydney FC, with some of the chances that they've had throughout this game, they really should be up like 3 or 4-0. They should be up maybe 3 or 4-0. It's just 1-0. And here come Raiders. Oh, that's a great ball. Oh, what a save. What a save. Gus Hufslot denied. Sydney FC are upset about something. But that is a phenomenal save from Hofslot, who's palmed that one wide. The shot came in from Fernandez. And as we were just talking about, these missed opportunities for Sydney FC, McAllister was one-on-one with the keeper but couldn't control his touch. SD Raiders go up the other end of the field and force a brilliant reflex save out of Sydney FC's goalkeeper, Gus Hoofslet. Quite phenomenal. Quite brilliant. So, I think Sydney FC are upset because Sakine, well, he's currently receiving a bit of medical treatment. Wowee. That's right, Tarnley. Sydney FC have 2 strikers on the bench, Gabriel Popovic and Al Hassan Toure. So they've got some attacking options. They've got some really solid attacking options if they do require them. But again, Sydney FC, they should be taking their chances, man. They should at least have a second goal by now with the shots that they've had. So, corner for the hosts. SD Raiders looking for this equaliser. In swinging corner. Needs a good delivery. Good movement in the penalty area. Hoofslet palms it away. Still on though. Bouncing around. Up in the air. And Sydney FC bring it clear. Quintal controls it well. Sydney FC against Aquino just hacks it clear. Again, there's a sense of there's a real chaos about this game, especially the second half. It's just been chaos. There's been a lack of control. A lack of composure. That sums it up, actually. There's been a lack of composure. Still very close indeed, Troy. And I tell you what, this game has a really sort of ominous feeling about it, doesn't it? It really does. Sydney FC have not got... They are not in control of this football match. And SD Raiders are just, I think, starting to cause a little bit of panic at the back for Sydney. And I think the thing that's contributing to that is the fact that Sydney are now starting to miss these really good chances. It's now going to be bugging in the back of the minds of these Sydney FC players. They've had these golden opportunities where they really should have had a second goal already. And they haven't. It's just the one goal. And there's still probably half an hour of football to be played in Fairfield. SD Raiders are in this game. SD Raiders are in this game. They defeated an A-League opponent, MacArthur FC, a couple weeks ago. Can they defeat another one here in Sydney FC? Sydney FC. Sakine down the left. The goal scorer, Takahiro Sakine. Cross a little bit heavy, but perhaps he was looking for a Colacon, who's recovered it on the right wing. Colacon, 17 years of age. Very direct cross. Quintal, edge of the box. Dispossessed. Lacey puts the laces through it, and it goes through to their goalkeeper. So, SD Raiders. Let's see what they can create from here, folks. They've got the ball once more. This is going to be, I'll tell you what, man, this is just going to be a really fascinating final half an hour or so. It really is. I'm very intrigued. I'm very intrigued because there's more drama. There just has to be, man. There just has to be. With the pace of this second half, with the chaos of this second half. Oh, here's a chance inside the penalty area. Oh, it falls in the box. It's bouncing around, and Hoofslet claims it. If you're Sydney FC, if you're Kaznorbo, you're probably sweating on the sideline because Skyblues just need to be doing a better job of controlling this game. They don't need to be rushing things. Yuli. That pass is cut off, but Quintal manages to get through, but he loses it. Again, there's a lack of composure in the heart of midfield all of a sudden. Long-range shot, probably not the right option there, because that's from 30 plus meters out. It's not going to trouble Hoofslet. Again, we haven't seen any substitutions yet. Gee, some serious pressure here at the back for Sydney FC. SC Raiders really applying the pressure, and it's worked out. They've won the ball. They've got it through to their back line, who are positioned on the halfway line now. SD Raiders, man. Oh, good work there, Ryan Grant. He's had a good game tonight, Ryan Grant. He's won the ball on a number of occasions. The Colacon coming infield. No foul. I agree with that decision. I don't think there was any foul there. You just wonder whether we'll see some substitutions soon. I think surely for Sydney FC, they probably just need some fresh legs to provide something different for the remainder of this half. They need to find the second goal. They got to find a second goal. There's a player down hurt here for Sydney FC. Is it Quintal, perhaps? In fact, it's Popovic. It's Alex Popovic who's down hurt as we speak. And play has been halted. So just check on the welfare of Alex Popovic, who looks like he had just a collision with an opponent. Looks like a bit of knee-on-knee contact, and Popovic has come off a little bit sore from that challenge. Blinkus says, Sydney missing Ocon Jr., in my opinion. They need to sign a replacement still for the centre of the park. Yeah, obviously he's going to be obviously a huge loss for Sydney FC. Ocon Jr. had a fantastic campaign for the Sky Blues last time out, and obviously great World Cup campaign, and now over in Germany. Well-deserved move. So yeah, they've got tonight in midfield, it's Yuli and Lacey, and look, they've been good for most of the game. They've got Wataru Kamisha, who's on the bench tonight. Kamisha is a top player as well. But yeah, it does feel like that maybe they do need to sign another player. They have brought in Jake Holman, but I view him more as a number 10, Jake Holman. So it does feel like that perhaps they do need to sign one more sort of defensive midfielder that can sort of play that Ocon Jr. role. And I think they're sort of wanting Joe Lacey to do that tonight. And again, he hasn't been bad. He's been good. Corner on the way for Sydney FC. Garuccio outswinger. In front of a packed crowd here at Fairfield Showground. Well defended. Headed away. Counter-attack is on. Ooh, Yuli has to get this right. They've got numbers here. SC Raiders have numbers. And Reece Yuli. Goodness me. Sydney FC's defenders were just completely absent there. So, substitution time. Finally. I don't think we've had any yet, have we? So Sky Blues are bringing on Al Hassan Toure. Toure, who made his Socceroos debut last year. And not only is Al Hassan Toure coming in, it's Wataru Kamisho, who's coming on to replace Joe Lacey in midfield. Fantastic assist tonight, Joe Lacey providing the assist for Sydney FC's goal. So Kamisho on in midfield. And it's Takahiro Sakine, the goal scorer for Sydney FC, who has also departed the field of play, replaced by Al Hassan Toure on that left wing. Change as well for SD Raiders, as they bring on some fresh legs to try and find a way back into this match. Still plenty of time. Still plenty of football to be played. Nice run from a Colacon. Oh, he's got the cross in. It wasn't a bad delivery across the face of goal. Garuccio. Oh, he's bundled over there. Has he won the free kick? I think he has here. So it's a set-piece opportunity in a great position here now. Really promising position coming up here for Sydney FC. Swung in. Yuli regathers on the edge of the box. He hangs it up. Oh, goalkeeper just manages to claim it at the end after a little bit of a fumble. Thanks for joining us tonight, folks. We have ticked past the 70th minute mark in this Australia Cup quarter-final. Hit that like button if you haven't done so already. You can also consider supporting the channel by checking out the channel memberships or sending in a super chat. And I'm sure we are set for more drama for the remainder of this game. It looks like Toure has taken up a position on the right wing. Watchalong has shifted over to the left wing. SD Raiders have it in midfield. Out to the right-hand side. Here's a chance. Early ball inside. It was flicked on. Horsfoot there to claim it. So still Sydney FC search for this second goal to give them a little bit of security. Sky Blues winning the Australia Cup in 2023. 3 years ago. They hosted the final against Brisbane Roar and claimed victory. You may remember Fabio Gomez, a new striker, scoring. What a way it was to get his Sydney FC career underway to score in a cup final. Of course, it is a big, big prize winning the Australia Cup. Not only do you, of course, win the whole competition that involves so many clubs from all across Australia, but it grants you passage into the AFC Champions League 2, if you meet the requirements, we should say. Obviously, there was a bit of drama surrounding that and Heidelberg United this year. Australia's two participants in the AFC Champions League 2 are Adelaide United and Melbourne Victory. Two teams in the Champions League 2 this year. Adelaide and Melbourne Victory. And both those teams, they had the draw earlier today for the Champions League 2 and Elite. So both Melbourne Victory and Adelaide know their group stage opponents. And for Newcastle Jets, the premiers of the A-League last year, they have discovered their opponents for the league phase in the Champions League Elite. And those campaigns get underway next month as a long-range shot is drilled into the hands of Gus Horsfoot from SD Raiders. So looking forward to the Champions League, man. It's always great to have that midweek football and great to have 3 teams involved. So looking forward to all the dates and well, we do have the dates for the match days and everything, but the actual dates and times all sorted out. And we'll have to make sure that we do some streams over the next year for those AFC competitions. Always fun watching the Aussie teams in action in Asia. And we want to see them do well. We want to see them do well, even if they are rival teams. Oh, SD Raiders on the attack. Down the right, cross comes in. Watchalong able to clear it away. Almost 10,000 people watching live on YouTube on the Football Australia YouTube channel where this game is being broadcast. This game is being broadcast free on YouTube for everyone to watch. The minutes are ticking by here for SD Raiders. They are starting to run out of time. I've had a lot of possession. They really have. The second half has been... they've been much better in the second half compared to the first, that's for sure. Cross comes in from Toure, claimed by Figueroa, the goalkeeper for Raiders. And again, SD Raiders will try and spring an attack forward. Opting to slow it down here on this occasion, though. Quick check of the match stats so far. According to FOTMob, Sydney FC 63% possession. So SD Raiders just starting to gain a little bit more possession compared to the first half. Both teams have had 11 shots. Both teams have had 11 shots. 6 on target for SD Raiders, 5 on target for Sydney. How about that? But Sydney FC have had twice as many touches in the opponent's box compared to SD Raiders. So there you go. Pass accuracy is looking a whole lot better for Sydney FC as well. Valhoon, good to see you here, man. Welcome along. Ooh, Marcus, good question. Who has been the best player in the Oz Cup so far? I think Thiago Quintal's probably up there. He's been superb. He had a hat-trick in the round of 32. Had a good game against Brisbane. So Quintal's probably up there. If you guys have any suggestions, let me know. But yeah, Quintal's the first one that comes to mind. I mean, he was unreal in that round of 32 game with that hat-trick. Unstoppable. SD Raiders, they are continuing to get closer and closer with these opportunities on goal. Will they find the back of the net, though? This is such a huge occasion for SD Raiders, man. Such a huge occasion for this club. Plays their football in NPL New South Wales through to the quarterfinals of the Australia Cup. This is usually the stage of the tournament that's dominated by A-League teams. But the 2026 Australia Cup has just been full of surprises, full of cup sets. Just 2 A-League teams remaining. Sydney FC, Melbourne Victory. Melbourne Victory are in action tomorrow night against Apia Leichhardt. The other 2 quarterfinals next week. Lions FC, North Sunshine Eagles. Preston Lions taking on South Melbourne. So we've got some cracking games on the way, folks. Ooh, nice long ball. Here's a chance for Raiders. Oh, that's a heavy challenge from Courtney Perkins. Is it a pen? Is it a pen? Referee's just having a moment here to... I don't think it's a penalty. It's a free kick. Wow, big moment here. Some appeals from the SD Raiders players. I mean, there's no VAR. The referee signaled for a free kick. Now, it looks like the referee's listening to his earpiece. Is he talking to one of his assistants? There's a card out. It's a yellow card for Jordan Courtney Perkins. The replay is going to be interesting. We're getting a look at the replay here. Okay, definitely outside the box. Ooh, actually, that's close. Ooh, actually, that's a tricky one because the Jordan Courtney Perkins starts sliding outside the box, but the contact is inside the penalty area. The camera angles, actually, it's, I don't know, man. If I'm an SD Raiders fan, I am spewing that that's not a penalty. I'm spewing that that's not a penalty. Marcus is correct outside the box. I thought it was correct, but then looking at the Courtney Perkins starts his slide, but the actual contact, by the looks of things, doesn't take place until they're inside the box. That's how it looked, at least right on the line. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're on the line, like that count, that's a penalty if the foul's like on the line. So that is a huge call from the referee, but it's a free kick. Edge of the box, 81st minute. It's sent in. Oh, what a save! Gus Hoofsloot with a phenomenal save. Fernandez. Fernandez could not have hit that free kick any better. It was the perfect free kick from Fernandez. We have just witnessed one of the great saves of the Australia Cup. That is phenomenal. Sydney FC have one of the top goalkeepers in the A-League in Harrison Devonish-Mears, who's currently recovering from injury. But goodness gracious me, Gus Hoefsloot has just shown up with a truly miraculous save. A corner bouncing around for Raiders. Chaos in the box. Oh my goodness. I cannot get over that save from Hoefsloot. It's still on for Raiders though. Chianese whips it in. It's bouncing up. Hoefsloot, oh, he doesn't hold it. Cleared away, but the free kick goes the way of Sydney. As Marcus says, how's he only second choice? I mean, it's tough behind, again, one of the best goalkeepers in Harrison Devonish-Mears. But that was one of the best saves I've seen from a free kick ever. It's no exaggeration. The reflex on that, the fingertip save was some of the most incredible athletic goalkeeping I've ever seen. That was phenomenal. And again, I want to highlight, Fernandez took a fantastic free kick. He got it over the wall, just underneath the crossbar. And it was just a miraculous save. Absolutely miraculous. De Jesus is on to replace a Colacon. RLCS, you can watch this game on YouTube, my friend. It is on the Football Australia YouTube channel for free. Free kick, Sydney FC. So pressure relieved here. The Sky Blues have a free kick in the forward half. Santa Rossi coming on, Festi Raiders. More fresh legs coming on for the hosts as the minutes are ticking by for them. Not long to go now. Sydney FC taking the slow approach for this free kick. Toure on the left. Quintal just losing control of the ball there. Ryan Grant has to backtrack and sends it back to Hoefsloot. Toure. Left-hand side is Garuccio. Let's see what Sydney can manufacture here, because this is good play now. Toure. Inside for Garuccio. That's Quintal. It's great play. And, I mean, from that position, you would expect better from Thiago Quintal. Just no composure on the final effort. Just all power, and that's going to sail well wide of the goal. And again, folks, Sydney FC, we should not forget, throughout so much of this game, have had some great opportunities to find a second goal, and they just haven't taken their chances, dude. They have not taken their chances. So now for SD Raiders, they really have to go for it here. How many chances will they get from here? Well, they've got it in the penalty area now, out to the right-hand side. Sydney FC getting numbers back to defend, but this has just, again, been a really brave display from SD Raiders. Sydney FC, they certainly were the better team for that first half. They were winning in a lot of the different statistics and leading heading into that halftime break. Still leading now, and SD Raiders have caused a whole lot of chaos in the second half, and Sydney FC, it hasn't been easy for them. Hasn't been easy for them, man. Cross comes in. Good defensive header from Popovic. He's been good. Sydney FC's defense overall have been good. Popovic, Grant, Courtney Perkins, Garuccio have worked really hard tonight. They've all had to put in a massive shift. This is a big effort. Still early on in pre-season. Chance for Sydney. But well done, Figueroa. Goalkeeper quick off his line. Because Sydney FC were threw away there for a moment. De Jesus goes long to no one in particular. You just wonder how much injury time will get added on. There's been a few stoppages. There has been a few. I think we could see maybe 4, 5 minutes or so added on. So we said we were going to get more drama, man. I'm sure we will. It feels like there's maybe one more goal in it. Could be for Sydney, though. Or will it be a dramatic late equaliser for SD Raiders to send this one to extra time? Gurucci on the left. Ooh, went for the short ball, but couldn't find Toure. Raiders. Ooh, that's a heavy challenge from Popovic. Referee's call will be interesting. Is it a free kick? I think it is. Or is it a throw? In fact, it is the throw. Another change on the way as well for SD Raiders. Malbasa coming on. The number 9 for the hosts. This has been a thoroughly entertaining game. Only the one goal in it, but especially this second half. There's been a real intense energy to this 45 minutes of football. Toure, down the left, can't keep it in play. Quickly taken long throw, but Sydney FC want to make a sub. Gabriel Popovic coming on to replace Matthias McAllister. Popovic scored late in the round of 16 match against Brisbane Roar. G'day, Luke. Good to see you, man. Just got off work, and I see that Sydney are somehow only up 1-0. Luke says, what happened to the Sydney that coasted by the last 2 games? Yeah, this has been much more difficult for them, Luke. They've had a real... It's been a really physical game. It's been a tough game for Sydney FC. They've had to really dig deep. And they've missed some great opportunities, man. They've had some great chances, especially through the second half. They really should be up 2-0 at least. But for Patrick Isnorbo's side here, it's the 1-goal lead. They are almost there. But SD Raiders have really, really made this a tricky matchup. And even if they are eliminated in the end here, SD Raiders, they can be proud of this performance because they've really... The effort's been there, man. Raiders have a free kick in the centre circle. Down the left-hand side. Cross isn't the best. Far too low. Free kick, Sydney FC in their defensive half, which they're just going to soak up that time, man. I'm going to say we get 5 minutes added on. We have had a few stoppages. There's been some players down injured throughout this second half. Definitely looked like a free kick earlier there as well. Camijo committing the foul. 5 minutes indeed. It is added on here. 5 minutes remain. That's right, Angel. Yep. Big Blue semi would be great. That would be huge. A huge fixture ahead of the A-League season. A Big Blue semi-final. I would love to see it. So this is it now for SD Raiders. They defeated an A-League opponent in the previous round, MacArthur FC. They trail in injury time here. They are really pressing now as Hoofslut. Garuccio can't keep it in play, so it's a throw in for Raiders. Patrick Isnorbo screaming at his players, urging them to work hard through to the final whistle here. Really appreciate you guys joining us for this live watch along. SD Raiders, Sydney FC. It's the Australia Cup quarterfinals. The winner going through to the final four in the cup. Toure goes to Garuccio, who's worked so hard down that left side all game. And he'll see it out for a corner. And the Sky Blues will take all the time in the world before taking this set piece. Hit that like button if you haven't done so already. We'll have some more streams throughout the coming months as we get closer and closer to the A-League season. Next stream we are planning to do is Preston Lions, South Melbourne next week. Quintal, nice play from the corner. Popovic wrestling. Ooh, that looks like a penalty. Popovic wrestled to the ground. Play on. It looked like he was hurled to the ground there. Anyway, that's how I saw it. Marcus's big worry if we can't get another winger. Couple minutes remaining now. 5 minutes total added on. SD Raiders with a long throw coming up. Needs a good delivery. Flicked on. Oh, bouncing around. Hoofslut does well. Comes out to claim. He's had a great game. He had that little nervy moment in the first half where that loose touch almost ended up as an own goal, but great work there, Hoofslut. Luke, good question, man. Who do you think will replace Milos Dejowski at MacArthur? You know, someone who I thought of, maybe like Warren Moon. Did a great job with Central Coast Mariners last season. In what was a difficult year for the Mariners. Turned them into a competitive side. So yeah, that could be interesting. He was the first one that sort of sprung to my mind. Sydney FC charging forward. Minute and a half remaining. Over to the left side now through Garuccio. Toure in the box. They've struggled to create quality chances for the last 15, 20 minutes or so, Sydney FC. Long ball towards Popovic. Holds it up for De Jesus. Ball inside for Quintal. To seal it for Sydney, it's across the face a goal. It's a goal kick. Another missed opportunity. This is it. It was a throw-in in the end on the sideline. Still here for Sydney. Quintal. Deflected shot goes wide. That'll be a corner. And that may well see us through to the full-time whistle. He has indeed moved up to Brisbane, Luke. But I tell you what, if there was an A-League move on the cards, I feel like Mooney might be interested. Full-time whistle is blown, and that is the end of this quarterfinal, this dramatic quarterfinal match. And Sydney FC survive. I think that's the headline, because SD Raiders caused a whole lot of chaos in that second half and fought really hard to the end. But Sky Blues having to dig deep there and digging deep enough to get the win in the end. Cheers, Marcus. Really appreciate you joining us. And that's right, semis, here we come for Sydney FC. They are through. So Sydney FC will face either Apia Leichhardt or Melbourne Victory in the semi-final, which either way would be an absolute cracker. So big game on the way for Sydney FC, but they continue their Australia Cup run. So no cup set tonight. The Sky Blues are through. It wasn't easy. It certainly wasn't easy, that's for sure. But Sydney FC progressed through to the final 14. So I've got Melbourne Victory versus Apia Leichhardt tomorrow night. And then next week, Lions FC hosts North Sunshine Eagles. And then after that, Preston Lions, South Melbourne. Cracking games on the way. If you guys don't want to miss a live watch along here on the channel, make sure you are subscribed. Would really appreciate you hitting the like button on the way out as well. And consider checking out the memberships if you want to support the channel here as well. Cheers, Troy. Thanks for joining us as always, mate. Shout out to all our members joining us tonight. Blinkers, Tan Lee as well in the live chat, as well as Troy in the live chat tonight. A-League X, Dilosh joining us earlier tonight as well. Marcus, A-League X, we just mentioned, of course, as well. Great to see everyone here, as always. Enjoy the rest of your evenings. Enjoy the rest of your weeks. Enjoy tomorrow night's game. That should be a cracker as well. Apia Leichhardt, Melbourne Victory. Thanks guys for tuning in. My name's Lockie. See you in the next one.